Channel boarders, all hands man your battle stations.
Broadcasting live on WNN 1470 AM, 95.3 FM, iHeartRadio, and the World Wide Web. This is Make America Think Again with your Google Blacklisted host, Tom Trento.
We're blacklisted as always. All right, here we go on the, what is the date? 17th. It's Constitution Day here in the United States of America. And later on in the show, E.W. Jackson, he will tell us what he's doing on, who's this guy? What are you doing here?
I'm just hanging out.
Who let this guy in?
I'm still trying to figure out why I'm.
Who let this guy
Security.
Security. Hey, look.
I just came to get a bottle. I'm on my way.
Out of respect to your home, I'm going to ask you to wear a mask on the show. Is that okay?
Not going to happen.
Okay, here's your mask. Would you wear this Hillary mask for
no.
us? Come on, man.
No.
You know, you'll make history here.
Then gives me the license to do just about anything I want.
That's right. You can do whatever. We have, what's your name again? Italian last name?
It's Italian last name,
Sorbo.
according to some people, Joe Pesci.
Yeah, Joe Pesci.
Just because
right.
it ends in a vowel.
That's a great story. Kevin Sorbo, our good friend here, and is Sam around? No, Sam's not around. Good.
She'll take full control right now if she was here.
Kevin needs
She
more
would
makeup.
make it better. But
Trento, you know, how come you got that shirt on, Trento? You know, we miss you, Sam. We love you. You know that. Do we have Michelle with us? Tell me when we have Michelle.
Not yet.
Not yet. We had a great event last night. Jexit, Jews exiting the Democrat Party. Over 300 people. A host of tremendous speakers. Roger was there. Roger Stone, Laura Loomer, Steve Rogers, Michelle Terrace, who started Jexit. Phenomenal movement. The Trump campaign flew people in to be there. So it was very, very exciting, very successful. And we're going to pick up on all of that. But today our special guest is Kevin Sorbo. You got a bunch of stuff going on.
I got a lot of stuff. I'm juggling a lot. But I got to go back to Jexit because this is the first time I've heard that term. So we got to come up with one for Christians that are finally exiting and voting the right way as well.
Oh, I like it.
So we need to come up with something.
Crexit?
Chexit? I don't know.
Chexit?
You could have Cyril at the same time with Chexit.
You know, you've been to Israel. You've been to Israel with us. You've been to Israel many times on your own. We got her? Hey, Michelle, you there?
I'm here.
Hey, how you doing? Did you sleep last night?
No.
We got to tell you.
I didn't sleep because I got a very special call. Can you see me? Or am I just calling in? Oh, I'm calling in.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
But you look fantastic.
Yeah, you look great.
Technical difficulties.
There you are with a green screen and everything.
Oh, I'm trying to get you. I'm trying to show my Trump towel, but I have a green screen, right?
Come on, you're burning our time.
Real quickly, I got a very special message last night from a very significant campaign person in Broward, and they asked if we could do a rally in Broward.
Oh, wow, that's very good. That's
Can you pick Mark off the floor?
Mark, do the technical stuff. You have sunglasses on, so you were up late last night. There you are. Yeah, we can do it. We can do anything. Somebody write a check and we can do anything, okay?
Exactly.
It takes money.
Exactly.
No, it was a successful event. I got you for about a minute here.
Okay.
How do you feel? I mean, your thoughts? What do you think? You put this thing together. It was amazing.
That it's God's hand, 100%, and it's God's work and God's mission, and it's going to take us to places that we can't imagine. I know that for sure. It's going to flip places red.
What is the mission of Jexit? What was your vision?
I feel that we're transitioning into a position of a Jewish advocacy agency because we're not pandering for votes or dollars. We're doing what's right. We're standing on the side of good, and we aren't afraid to speak out. Our voices have empowered people, as you saw last night, and they're grateful, they're thankful, they're joining us. We've got so many people that joined up that want to work with us. So obviously, whatever we're doing, we need to keep doing, and we're definitely partners with you. So you better get ready.
Yeah, right. What does Jexit mean? Tell everybody what Jexit means.
Jexit means, well, it started out as encouraging and persuading our Jewish brothers and sisters to exit the Democrat Party that has actually, well, it's abandoned the Jews. So basically, the Jews don't really have to do anything because the Democrat Party exited from all the Jews.
All right, that's it. All right, we only got you for a couple of, so I got to get
Thank
back
you.
to Kevin here. Again,
I'm still
our
at the hotel.
congratulations.
I'm
Oh, you're still
here.
there? All right.
I'm still doing
All right.
cleanup.
All right, we'll talk to you after the show. Michelle Terrace and her team put that on. You've been in Israel many times. You've been with us. And Michelle is an American Jewish woman, but she lived in Israel for about a year in a kibbutz. Remember the kibbutz?
Sure. Yeah.
Have you noticed in your experience being an Israeli and an American Democrat Jew?
Yeah, I mean, I was in Hollywood for years for crying out loud. I mean, I'm in your slate now. I've moved to Florida. I've left California, but being within in Hollywood for 35 years, I was out in California. I know many people of Jewish faith that have lost their faith, that are atheists or agnostic, just like Christians that have lost their faith. Every religion is people have left those faiths. And I have found for the most part, they're not practicing Jews. And I've always thought, why would Hollywood support somebody like Obama, who certainly was the most anti-Israel president we've ever had? There's no argument with that. I'm just making, people hate the truth nowadays for some reason. Yeah. But I always found the anti-Semite card was pulled out in Hollywood when it was convenient to pull it out. And it's frustrating for me. It's like, guys, let's get back to the reality of what the Democrat Party is doing to. And Michelle made a perfect logical sense there when she said, and I've had this from other celebrities that said the Democrat Party, I didn't leave it, the party left me. Because if you look at JFK today, JFK would be a Republican today. All you have to do is look at his inauguration speech. And it's on his gravestone. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. There's not one Democrat that's saying that today.
No, not at all. What are you doing for me? What are you doing for me?
You guys are such
if it's free, it's me. That's the new mantra of people who vote Democrat.
You were entrenched in Hollywood for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, you started saying this conservative stuff and this God stuff and pro-life stuff. How did that impact your acceptance in the clubs of Hollywood?
Hollywood owes me nothing, but the reality is it hurt my career big time. And Sam, my wife, warned me about it. But I got to a point about 10 years ago, I said, I'm tired of the hypocrisy going on here. So I just started voicing a different opinion. And certainly my agent of many years, ICM, my manager of many years, they all said, we can't get you hired anymore.
Really?
So thank God for independent movies. Yeah, and that really started with movies like What If, which I think is one of my favorite. I've shot over 60 movies. That's one of my favorite by far. Same writer said that God's Not Dead. God's Not Dead had a bigger send-off, but I think What If's even a better movie. But since then, Soul Surfer, Abel's Field, Let There Be Light, which people should be seeing, and I've got 3 more in the can now, but there's no theaters to put them in. So we're just waiting for something to open up.
Yeah, for the aspiring actors out there, and in church, I used to do some dramas. Study the script and memorize it. How do you memorize all that information? What is your secret?
The secret comes down to writing. If I find the writing is good for me, everybody's going to have different opinions, right? I mean, it's like looking at a movie and say, I thought it was great, and somebody else said, I thought it sucked. For me, it's just the cadence of how a writer writes. If I find that it makes sense in my mind, if it's smooth, I can memorize pretty easily.
Really?
If it's a difficult script for me, I'm not afraid to talk to the writers. I don't want to, I think writing's the toughest part of Hollywood. I think I wrote one episode of Hercules. I'll never do it again. It's way
wrote it?
It's way too much work. We did it and I directed it, but it's way too much work. But I give kudos to them, but they also take the most amount of I think, of criticism, because actors are always going, who wrote this crap? I was looking at it. So,
and by the way, that was one of my favorite episodes.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously, I didn't know you wrote that one. Which one are you talking about?
Thank you.
Do you get to a point in your head where you're off book, where you're not memorize, you're not looking at the words that are on the piece of paper, but it becomes natural?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from just the years I've been in the business. I think I'm a better actor now than I was when I started 35 years ago. But I love coming on set prepared. I'm always at least 3 days ahead in terms of the scenes. And always like a bonus scene in there too, because a lot of times when you shoot in Hercules or Andromeda, you're shooting a TV series. Certainly with Hercules, we shot 10-day episodes, but 5 would be outside. But they always had days, okay, it's going to rain tomorrow. We got to jump to day 10 right now. So actors better be prepared.
You got to be ready
for that weather day. And because you're going to go inside one of we had like 3 different studios. One would be a jungle, one would be a cave, or whatever we needed. But it was, I always prepared for it. So I think actors need to come prepared. I'm always surprised actors show up and not having their lines memorized. And I remember the first day in the set of Andromeda, we did the scene, and one of the DP said, the camera guy said, wow, actors were ready to got their lines memorized, and I said, "Well, isn't that the way it's supposed to be?" But
Didn't you ever do this? And then Sabrina line.
oh yeah,
Did you
well,
ever do that?
I've worked with people like that.
Okay, yeah,
I've worked with people. I'm not going to name who it was because very famous.
Line.
Had cute everywhere.
Really?
Everywhere. Yeah, had the cards all written up.
Well,
so.
maybe Hollywood has given you time, but you have adventured into other areas, and you're involved with Climate
Hustle 2.
1 and 2. This is 2. What is
Comes out
Climate
on
Hustle?
the 24th, September 24th,
Right.
climatehustle2.com. Please go check out the 2 tickets now, climatehustle2.com. It's another topic that's going to endear me to Hollywood. Leonardo DiCaprio, me and I will be good buddies now.
Yeah, right. In his private jet,
You know what?
flying around in his private jet.
I narrated. I'm on camera with it. The team put together a great documentary. Why not look at the other side of the issue, guys? You know, I'm all open to looking at both sides of the issue. When people get so angry, it's like, no, I'm just going to do this way only, and that's the way it's going to be. Get some scientific evidence as well, because for as many scientists say the world to a close, there's a lot more scientists out there that say it's not. Actually, the glaciers are coming back for the last 10 years. The polar bears are doing fine, but they loved, just like the COVID thing going on right now. I don't dismiss the fact this is a very contagious thing, but so is the flu. But the reality is control and fear. Fear is an amazing weapon out there. And I got to go back to the only thing to fear is fear itself. You know, back in the day during the Depression years and the World War II. But guys, look at this. It's a wonderful documentary. It's pieced together.
What is the thesis, the proposition of Climate Hustle 2?
Well, it's just you've got a lot of well-known scientists that come out and debunk all the myths that are coming out and all the so-called scientific facts from people that, you know, global warming. I call it weather, you know.
You call it weather.
We have no idea what the weather was like pre-1850. Does anybody have the weather report from July 7th of 1493? No. I mean, there's been so many different things. There actually was, I wish I had the article right here to do it, but if you go online from late 20s, early 30s, a group of scientists saying global warming, the world's coming to an end. And they're saying this is 80 years ago, for crying out loud. So
well, in the 70s, it was global freezing.
They said that Life magazine on the cover is entering another ice age.
Ice age.
Because
it
was the coldest decade on record.
And Leonard Nimoy actually did a documentary on it. I remember that.
Yeah.
On that?
Yeah.
Well, there's a connection. I mean, there's a political connection because this is forefront now in the campaign. Joe Biden agreeing with Gavin Newsom standing in front of the. I thought that was a Saturday Night Live sketch. Gavin Newsom standing by the fires. Very sad. The fires. It's indisputable. I'll debate anybody. You know, this is global warming.
Meanwhile, they caught how many arsonists?
Yeah, they caught arsonists there.
That's part of global warming if an arsonist starts a fire.
And these fires, they're smart. They stopped at the Canadian border. They're stopping at the Mexican border. They're only going in California, only burning there where the forests have never been regulated because the environmentalists don't want you to dig up all the stuff that causes the fire, all the fuel that.
Well, COVID is smart too because it stops at 6 feet, which is really fantastic. But as far as the NBA is concerned, there's not a problem. They can be hitting each other very hard and beating each other under the boards.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that's
I saw a meme the other day. They had it was obviously people exercising, walking on all fours, but somebody took that and said, if a scientist came out and said that COVID floats at 3 feet, everybody in America would be walking on all fours, you know, walking.
Well,
on
yeah,
all
apparently
fours.
you have to wear a mask as you go into the restaurant, but as soon as you sit down, you're safe at the table.
It's safe and you take it off. Well, I can testify that masks do work. I have a little kid who spits when he talks.
Oh, really?
So if he's masked, his spit isn't coming on me. So everybody in the world should be masked except me.
That's right.
Thus, my Hillary mask for you.
And it worked for us on Roger Stone last night. He was like launching it at the whole tech crew last night. We're like, oh, get out.
They're about 10 feet away from Roger, and the spit's going all over the place. And,
that's funny.
But he's been quarantined, so he's fine. All right, so we got Climate Hustle 2 coming out. You're narrating it. When is it again? How do people see it?
Go to climatehustle2.com, and it's got all the information on there, how to buy tickets, where you can see it, blah, 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 blah. It comes out the 24th. That's this next Thursday, right?
Oh, yeah, 1 week. Look at that. the
1 week away, so please go check that out.
All right, Tom Trento here, WWNN 1470 AM on your dial 95.3. We're live in Florida. I got to thank Brian and Brian Craig and Steve Kane for delivering us a very large audience at 9 o'clock from 6 to 9. You got to listen to them. I was one of the MCs last night along with my partner, Sophia. She did a great job, didn't she? She was excellent. and a bunch of people came up to me and said, "Oh man, we're listening to you guys now right after Brian and Steve," and they got a big audience, 6 to 9. So we picked that audience up. We're only back on the air a couple of weeks here. Everything is going extremely well. You're going to Washington, D.C. for The Return.
TheReturn.org.
Say that like dramatically.
TheReturn.org. Coming to you in Washington, D.C. They're expecting a crowd of 100,000. I hope people show up. It's going to be an amazing event. You just went online. You saw the number of speakers coming out there. Michelle Bachman's going to be there. Dr. Ben Carson's going to be there. I'm speaking. My wife's speaking. I mean, I think they've got at least 50 or 60 over the two-day event.
Over 2 days.
It's the 25th and 26th. Of
and what
September.
does the return mean? What does that mean?
It's the return to Christ, the return to faith, the return to getting the country back to what it was founded on, which was Judeo-Christian values. So it's really just a huge prayer event to save the country. You see all the stuff going on right now. I mean, honestly, do you think these Antifa punks and these BLM people, I mean, would they be out there doing what they're doing if they had any biblical principles in their lives? I don't think so. So we're hoping to fight back. Look, Black Lives Matter, people want to attack me on that. I totally support that statement as a statement. But people need to go on and read the manifesto, what they believe in. They believe in breaking the family up. They believe in Marxism and communism. I mean, really, and you got these corporations supporting this. Sanity to me.
And we say stuff like that publicly. We get our email accounts shut off and all this stuff happens. But you know what? You got to tell the truth.
You know what? That leads me into Bleeding Blue. BleedingBlueMovie.com. Please, BleedingBlueMovie.com. It's a documentary. Part of Kevin Jackson produced it. It's a wonderful documentary, and it shows what police have to go through. It's not a glorification of police. Every business, everything in the world has a bad apple. There are horrible, mean actors out there. There are horrible, mean people that work in the newsrooms. There are horrible people. So everybody has bad people in their lives. Not every cop is bad. Let me give you a statistic that comes out of this. This is out of Bleeding Blue. In 2017, there were over 4,100 shootings in Chicago alone. 4,100 shootings. That's a dozen a day or more, right? So how many involved the police? How many? Less than 1%. 99.2% involved people shooting each other, and most of those were African Americans. So if Black Lives Matter, why aren't they in the south side of Chicago working hard to figure out what's going on with that problem right there? Let's get honest about what's going on out there. So BleedingBlueMovie.com, another one you should check out. That is out and available right now.
Well, we have found in our work, the United West, it's an organization that I run with a great group of people. We got Mark over there, Susie Q, who's usually here. You got bumped by Kevin today, Susie Q.
Thanks for warming up my seat, Susie. I appreciate it.
We got Mary up north running everything on WWNN 1470, 9:20 in the morning. Got a few more minutes with Kevin. You mentioned Michelle Bachman a bit earlier, a fellow Minnesotan.
Yeah, that's where I'm from.
And
it's going great there in Minneapolis,
I was
isn't
going
it?
to ask you, what's going on in your hometown there?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Look, what happened to that man, no one deserved that to happen. But there's a lot of more things coming out about that as well. But that was just a catalyst that kicked off all this looting, all this attacking, to sit there and attack private businesses and homes and families and kill people. This is ridiculous. This has to do more than what happened in Minneapolis. It has to do with the dysfunction of America, starting in our public schools, starting in our universities. There's so many things that we need to fix in this country right now, and it's just sad to see the result of this. I would love it if somebody did a documentary on all those people doing that. I'm curious. Do they have jobs? Seriously.
They're out there. They got
how
food.
Did they,
they
how
got
did
water.
they? How did they grow up in their families? How did they grow? Did they have a father? Did they have a mother? Did they have both parents? I'm just curious. What's going on with this? You hear rumors of George Soros behind this. Is he? I don't know. I don't have proof of it, but we can all speculate, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. We have proof. I mean, we've traced the money. We have proof that Soros is behind a lot of the initial funding. But Black Lives Matter, the Marxist organization, has raised worldwide over $1 billion. They don't need Soros anymore.
No.
They got $1 billion to screw around with and ruin the country.
Mostly from corporations that are fear of being called racist. It has nothing to do with racism, guys. This has to do with hate and anger and the destruction of the American way. And it's just sad to see what's going on.
Now you're a distinguished actor, all that stuff, but you got a sense of humor. And I notice on Twitter, like me, you like the Babylon Bee.
Love Babylon Bee. Did you see that? They put me in there. I'm in there last week.
I saw that. Yeah, they had you.
I love it. Every movie's got to be Kevin Sorbo starring. That's faith-based. And they said while they were interviewing while I was bench pressing my wife Sam. So
It was great.
they said that after I'm
she got in, too.
dead, they'll still have me in every movie forever for eternity.
Those guys are good.
Oh, they're great. I did their podcast.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. Well, I was just shooting a sitcom. Believe it or not, we shot 8 episodes of a pilot I did 2 years ago. I was back in San Bernardino, and we shot out there. We do 3 cuts a week, the whole cast and crew.
Oh, wow.
Everybody
Which
passed
one, your
everyone.
nose or-
Oh, way up the nose, into the brain. It was fun. 3 a week is a little overkill. I'm sorry. That's my Screen Actors Guild. Thank you for that. $140,000 they had to pay for that 5-week shoot. I think SAG's getting a kickback. But anyway. It went great, and Babylon B is located right there in Ontario.
All right, we got to get those. They're hysterical. We have a 2-minute clip here of Climate Hustle 2. Let's take a look at it. Kevin's new film released on the 24th. You got to see it. Go online. It's online because there's no theaters going on right now. All right, let's play it.
Oh, we're getting audio.
And let's play it.
No, that I think would help.
Yeah, there we go.
2003, when I produced a paper that go against the standard paradigm of climate change religion.
The predictions were that there would be massive warming by now. It's not happening.
My science has gone so bad, it drives me nuts.
Have you ever heard a scientist say there's a consensus the sun is going to rise tomorrow morning? Scientists don't believe anything.
They see man as some sort of foreign invasion, when the reality is we're part of nature.
It is deadly to your career to be a young dissenter.
I broke down for a very simple reason. Because they are not only coming after me, they are coming after a range of my colleagues.
Yeah.
The solution is bigger governments, more regulation, more control, more everything that's against freedom. That's what they want.
Some people even say that it's coordinated in some form or another by certain leaders.
There's no way I could possibly fight against a government that is lining up against me.
You have no freedom, you have no control over the political process, you are a mere drone.
It's more than a climate monarchy.
They want to return us to an age of kings.
Evil triumphs when good men stand idly by.
Don't look at the facts. Nothing to see here. Move along and follow the party line.
This isn't just bad science, this is the death of science.
Don't miss this important film, Climate Hustle 2.
Hey, you got in at the end there. So that's telling us there's a global component to controlling countries to buy into the world is coming to an end because it's getting warmer.
Look at the amount of statistics out there that debunk this. I mean, they're saying by the year 2000 we're going to be underwater along our coast, and President Obama was a proponent of it. Well, he just bought multi-million-dollar 12,000 square foot home on the water.
On the water,
so apparently
yeah.
he's not concerned about it rising there. It's just the hypocrisy it's so straight in your face. And the money we're spending, the billions and billions of dollars we're spending that could be so much better in so many other areas that need help in our country. It's just, it's mind-boggling.
It's crazy. I know you got to leave in a couple of minutes, but briefly for our audience, we have a lot of faithful Jews and Christians who follow what we're doing. How has your faith in Jesus Christ, how has that impacted your work?
It's amazing. When I really came out of that Christian conservative closet in Hollywood, I was like being a double leper, by the way. It was amazing to me how doors slam shut, but then so many other doors open up to me. I do a lot of speaking events now, everything from medical, from the strokes that I suffered on Hercules, and I wrote a book called True Strength on that. I do a lot of pro-life speaking events. I do a lot of Christian education speaking events. The faith-based movies have been through. I mean, it's been a blessing to have these things happen for me. So, in fact, I'm in documentary heaven right now because Before the Wrath is out there right now. I just told you about that.
Before the Wrath.
BeforeTheWrath.com is yet another one. Open for 3 weeks. It was the #1 documentary on Amazon. It's still the #1 Christian movie/documentary in all of America right now at this moment. BeforeTheWrath.com deals with the book of Revelation. Fascinating, very educational. I think people will love it, and they should check that out as well. But like I said, I got 3 movies coming out. One I direct. Texas, which is an amazing true
We
story.
got to
set in
see that.
1930.
We have to see that.
It's a
one.
great movie. We got Lou Gossett Jr.'s in it, Tyler Maine, Jonathan Berger, my wife Sam did a great job. But we got some good things. So we're hopefully they're all out next year when the theater open up again.
When we were in Israel last year with the Sorbos, Kevin, people know you and all of that, but we're in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yeah.
And prayer thing, when we start walking away, this Asian tour group comes and they're going, oh, Hercules, Hercules, Hercules. You remember those ladies? They wanted to pose with you. I go, what is going on? Little Asian ladies in the Garden of Gethsemane. And Kevin takes the time to pose with everybody and talk to them. And
I did charge him $20
Yeah,
a
there
head.
you go.
No,
Yeah, exactly.
Because I do believe in capitalism.
I do have to say, Kevin is on the set. You always tell when an actor is really great human being. He treats everyone on the set. They all text.
You're an actor with him. You were in
I'm
Let There Be Light. Remember that?
Yeah.
When he was there,
Oh,
he
yeah.
took the picture. All right, you got to get going.
Jackson here.
You got to get going.
I got to roll.
You got to go.
Hey,
man,
thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure.
We'll do it again.
Go see all those things.
You're a Florida neighbor now. Take it easy.
You got rid of me. I'm taking the water, though.
All right, take care. The door on your way out. Take it easy. Tell your wife we said hello. All right. Susie, you want to come back out here, Susie? Susie. Come on out. Yeah, come on. Join the show. Tom Trento here, 9:29 in the morning. We just had a great hour with Kevin Sorbo. Kevin is a friend of ours, came to Israel with us on one of our trips. He's a distinguished actor, has done a lot of work. But then, as he was saying, as he came out of the Christian closet and start speaking more about his faith, about the importance of Judeo-Christian principles in culture, there was, blackballed in Hollywood. Didn't want to hear that, and we see that take a position based upon truth, particularly truth as articulated in the Hebrew and Christian scriptures. Then you got to fight the secularism of the day, and we know an individual who has continued for many years fighting that battle, fight it. On this phenomenal Constitution Day, September 17, 2020, 233 years since a bunch of people signed the Constitution and got that thing into motion. We are privileged and honored to have with us E.W. Jackson. E.W., how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Tom. Thanks for having me on. Great day, Constitution Day.
Yeah.
Tell us what you are doing about Constitution. Give us a little background. Give the audience a little background. You have an background educationally, professionally. Give us a brief on your background and what you're doing on Constitution Day.
Sure. Well, look, I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I'm a graduate of Harvard Law School, so I practiced law for many years. But I run an organization called STAND, Staying True to America's National Destiny, and I pastor churches, the called churches here in America and some overseas. And look, I love this country, Tom, and I'm one of those people who has been trying to say for about 3 or 4 decades now, look, we are the most blessed people in the world, regardless of the color of our skin. We live under the most successful governing document in the history of mankind. And what we got to figure out is how to get our faults and flaws out of the way and work together and live together and care about one another as Americans. And so Constitution Day, in fact, we've declared this, my organization, STAND, Staying True to America's National Destiny, has declared this Celebrate American History Month, because we believe there's so much more to celebrate than there is to denigrate. And so Constitution Day today, we're doing a read-in from 2 to 5. We're going to read through the entire Constitution with some commentary along the way to once again remind ourselves of how blessed we are to live under this Constitution if we would only follow it, or as Ben Franklin said, we have a republic if we can keep it.
EW, before we go any further, our dear friend, our brother, Dr. Ronnie Wexler, you know Dr. Wexler? He says hello. He wanted to extend his welcome to you. He's usually in the studio with us, but he's not here today. We have gone to Israel many times with him, and he just wanted to say hello to you. So you can say hello to him right now on the air.
How are you, Ronnie? It's been a while since we've talked, but it's good to hear from you, my friend. And maybe one day we'll make one of those trips to Israel together.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
Would be great.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll join in with us. We're going to be going again in May. So maybe you'll be able to. Let me ask you a question, EW. You're doing the read-in and, for the Constitution. How can our listeners find you?
Well, there are three ways. They can go to our website, standamerica.us, just like it sounds, standamerica.us, or they can go to my Facebook page, which is E.W. Jackson SR for senior, E.W. Jackson SR, and they can also watch it on the E.W. Jackson YouTube channel.
Great. Thank you so much.
I got an interesting little tidbit here for you. You probably know this, but I don't know if you know, Susie Gold, that a woman signed the Constitution.
I didn't know that woman.
Her name is here, Mary Catherine Goddard. Guess who wound up signing the Constitution?
Tell me about it.
Well, when they were printing it up, there was a woman who had a little place, and it was the main print place in the area, in the town, and they brought it to her, and she printed up several copies for the founders, and she signed her on the bottom of one of those copies. So she's the first woman to sign the Constitution.
Well, that's a great tidbit of information.
That's a great story, yeah.
Good for her. Good for her.
That's a great question for Jeopardy.
Yeah, I know. EW, why is the Constitution under attack after 244 years of the Declaration, 233 years of the Constitution?
Well, I believe there's several reasons. I think the most immediate one is, frankly, we've got a rising movement of Marxism in our country. I think it's represented by Black Lives Matter. It's represented by Antifa. It's represented, frankly, by the Democrat Party these days, that has moved so far left that it's basically unrecognizable as an American institution. And it's anti-American. It's anti all of our institutions that are unifying. It's anti-flag, anti-constitution, anti-national anthem. Because they don't want to try to improve or reform our country. They want to destroy it and remake it after Marx's image. And so that's one of the reasons why the Constitution is under attack, because it's in the way. You know, the principles of freedom, the principles of limited government, principles of inherent individual rights, that they don't come from government, they come from God. All of these are things that stand directly in the way of a Marxist, socialist, communist worldview. And so in order to get the kind of system operating in our country that they want, they've got to get the Constitution out of the way, debunk it, defame it, scandalize it. Oh, they were all, the founding fathers were all slaveholders, as if the principles they enunciated are automatically invalidated because they weren't perfect people. If that were the case, we'd have to throw out the whole Bible, because the people that God used to pen it weren't perfect people either. So, but that's one reason. But, you know, I think the other reason is really spiritual. I think America is really a providential nation ordained by Almighty God. I believe it's the greatest experiment in human freedom in the history of mankind. And I really believe there are demonic, evil forces that hate our country because, frankly, they hate God. And if they can bring America down, you know, they can prove maybe that this God that America has always believed in is not all that he's cracked up to be. So I think there's a real spiritual battle going on in our country right now.
That brings up a very important question. We here at the United West, it's 9:36 in the morning. E.W. Jackson is on with us, Constitution Day. I'm here with Susie Gold. Mark is in the control room. Mary up north running everything. WNN 1470 on the AM side, 95.3 FM, iHeartRadio worldwide. You can watch this broadcast at our website, theunitwest.org. EW, we are our organization with many others. Campaign, we've been running it for 2 years, and we're down to 48 days. We're mobilizing 1,000,001 additional evangelical voters in the state of Florida. because we have between 1 and 3 million evangelicals not voting. Evangelical, they believe in Jesus, they believe in the Bible. But my question to you, with a legal background, a military background, a theological background, I'm a theologian, a graduate of Moody Bible Institute, Denver Seminary, an apologist by training. What do we say to the Christians, people that call themselves Christians on the left, who don't care about the life issue, don't care about limited government? They want a socialism, they want a new approach, claim to be Christians. How do we speak to those people?
You know, I always think of it this way. When I was saved back in 1976, one of the first things that I came to realize early in my Christian walk, that America is also one of the greatest gifts God has ever given to any people, because the gospel of Jesus Christ has gone out throughout the world from this nation unlike it has from any other nation in the history of Christianity. And therefore, every Christian really ought to see America as a gift. Now, if I give you a gift, Tom, and I see you spitting on it and trampling it and kicking it, I think, you know what? Tom must not like me very much to treat a gift that I've given him that way. Well, if we really believe that God gave us America and we turn our backs on it, we ignore it, we neglect it, we mistreat it, we allow others to mistreat it, what we're really saying is we don't have any great regard for God. And yet I know every Christian would say, oh no, I really do respect God. Well, if you really respect God, then you've got to respect what God has done for you. And God gave us America, where we could be free, where we could preach the gospel, where we could take the message of the love of Jesus around the world, where every person could be free to worship as they see fit, even if they don't agree with Christianity. And to not vote, to not participate, to not be fully engaged, to me, is like spitting in God's face and saying, yeah, you know, I don't value this gift you gave me that much. It's no big deal. I don't really care what happens to it. And it's also, in my view, disrespecting all of those who shed their blood in this country for our freedom, all the military people, all the first responders who have sacrificed so much to make sure that we could live in freedom. So I would say every Christian ought to feel a sacred obligation to get out and vote your Christian values. Now, let me just say, for the record, I am voting for President Donald J. Trump. I believe that he is a godsend to save this nation from socialism and Marxism and this moral and cultural relativism that has infected our country. And I believe he needs 4 more years to help us set the ship of state straight again. But I would encourage Christians, vote your values. Even if you think, well, I think this guy's wrong, check the Bible out. Are you pro-life? Are you pro-family? Do you believe that your First Amendment rights are given to you by Almighty God, not just delegated to you by government? If you believe in your Second Amendment right, your right to self-defense as a God-given and inherent human right, well, this president is defending all of that. And the people who want to take power defend none of that. In fact, they oppose all of that, frankly. And you've got to decide, are you going to surrender all that God has given you to folks who hate it and want to trample it and want to turn you into, in effect, a slave of the state?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there's a thing in the Bible called being prophetic, where the prophets of the Bible, God gave them an ability to see in the future, but there's also an element of prophecy where you speak this to a culture today. You are hearing from EW the truth being spoken. I'm glad you hit the issue of Donald Trump being an obstinate, good evangelicals. How could I vote for him? He's an immoral guy. He speaks tough. He speaks rough. Share just another 30 seconds on how to deal when an evangelical, I can't vote for that guy.
Look, it is not what he says, it's what he does. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. And the Bible says you're going to be judged by the deeds. The deeds the man has done. He's lowered unemployment to the lowest rate in history, particularly for Black and Hispanic people, one of the lowest rates in the last 40, 50 years for women. He has protected our First Amendment rights. He has defended churches. He has stopped the IRS from persecuting us if we preach or say something from the pulpit that they consider to be a violation of our 501c3. I mean, this man has been a defender of the faith. So whatever you may say about him, I really believe that God can take a crooked stick and hit a straight lick. And Donald Trump he might be a crooked stick, but God is hitting a straight lick.
I'm going to use that one. That is one.
You know, here we are, EW, at a very historic time, as you know, with peace being created with the UAE and also Bahrain, and more to come, and Muslim nations, and coming together, which is incredible to see peace in our time being recreated, and a rejoining of so that we can make sure and ensure there will be safety in that region. So tell me about the Christian values when it comes with regard to in supporting, and also the importance of Christians when you bless Israel. Yes. So can you talk a little bit about that with the Christian connection to Israel?
Look, I really believe that's been a key to our prosperity in the modern era. Since Israel came into being again in 1948, we have been on the side of Israel every step of the way. We did have a president 4 years ago who I really think hated Israel and hated the Jewish people, and wanted to do everything he could to help their enemies destroy them. That was an anomaly. This president, however, has been a staunch defender of Israel. And you're right. The word of God says, I will bless those who bless you, speaking to Abraham. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. I really believe that's been a key to the blessing that's rested on our country. Look, our country has not become the most prosperous and successful nation on earth by luck. And it's not because we're all just such brilliant people, or we're all such morally great people. It's been because God's blessing has rested upon this country. And I think that's part of the reason why it's rested on us. So Donald Trump, I tell you, it brings tears to my eyes when I think about him moving the embassy to Jerusalem and recognizing Jerusalem as the undivided capital of Israel, which it is. And we've had presidents who weren't willing to do it, even some of those who call themselves Christians and were conservative, who weren't willing to do it. Donald Trump has protected Israel against Iran, put them in their place. Donald Trump has just been a courageous defender of Israel, and that's a key to our blessing and a key to our future. And frankly, the Democrat Party and the left has just they treat Israel like an apartheid nation. They like a bunch of racists who are out to harm the Palestinians, and it's just not true. It's another one of these Marxist narratives that has taken root in that party in our country. But Donald Trump has really been an antidote to all of that.
Mm-hmm. Been the greatest friend to Israel and the Jewish people, and the greatest friend to the Christian people. And I'm a Jew, and I can't say enough wonderful things about my Christian brothers and sisters. I'm happy to have met Tom Trento, part of a larger family, and we thank all of our the Christian family, and we all come from the same source, and greater together, and we have greater strength together. And I so much of your supporting that you're doing out in the community to promote truth and to share the word and to make sure that people understand what's really going on, what's this Marxist agenda and what they're trying to do to our country. They do, like you said, they remove God and separate us racially, and sure that we don't have defense. Here they're attacking the cops, and it's almost from every direction that we're hit, and impacting the right to life, a Second Amendment, and they're hitting us from every vantage point. We have to be strong, and the way we know where we gain our strength, as you said, is through God above.
Well, that leads to my next question. We're going in a minute here, but we're talking about the importance of electing Donald Trump in 48 days. EW, I want you to take a minute or two and scare the hell, literally, scare the hell out of people. And right now in Florida, we're running a campaign, Spiritual Battle for America. That's how we use this. Basically a battle between good and evil. If Donald Trump loses and the Harris-Biden administration wins, what is this country going to look like?
I can give you a picture of hell. If you want to know what the country will look like under Democrat leadership, look at Portland, look at Seattle, look at Chicago, look at Baltimore, look at the cities across this country. I think it's 96% of the cities across this country have experienced riots in the last 3 months. Not protests, not peaceful protests, riots, destruction of property, murder spiking, attacks on police. My goodness, we just had 2 police officers who, by the grace of God, survived, but suffered a vicious attack in LA County in which an assassin just tried to take them out while they were sitting in their car. That's the world they want to create for us. That's their vision for America. Because see, look, they don't like America. They don't like us. They think that we're an inherently evil and wicked nation, and that somehow they're going to remake us in some sort of socialist utopia. And what they're offering really is racial division, anti-Semitism, anti-free enterprise and property rights, anti-Christianity, clearly. This is not the world that we want for our country. It's not the world our founding fathers had in mind. It's not what our Constitution allows. And frankly, it's not what God will ever approve or bless.
On that note, EW, we're going to let you go. And we hope everyone listening and watching hears these words of wisdom. Critically, 48 days, ladies and gentlemen, a moment in history. EW, God bless you in your work. You know, how much are you reading of the Constitution?
Look, we're spending the next 3 hours this afternoon reading through the entire Constitution. I'm going to read and make commentary on the preamble, but we're going to be reading the entire document today. So I'm excited.
How do people find you? One more time, and then we'll let you go. How do they find you?
They can go to standamerica.us for our organization in general, standamerica.us. They can watch it there. They can watch it at my Facebook page, E.W. Jackson SR, and on the E.W. Jackson YouTube channel.
All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. EW. Let's give
so
EW
much,
a
W.
Thank you very much. The Lord's work.
Thank God for you.
Wow.
Thank you, EW.
Thank you.
It's nice to have prophetic voice. As I said, the Bible has 2 aspects of prophecy, where the prophets of years had the capability to foretell the future. God told them it was going to take place. They didn't know even what they were talking about half the time, but they did it. And there's also a component of being prophetic, of knowing what's true and calling and proclaiming the truth in a culture, proclaiming the light that's dark. Our culture is getting darker and darker and darker. And EW is just a laser beam of light. And the guy, he was a Marine. He's got a law degree. He's not a slouch. And you know the left calls him all kinds of names, derogatory names. The black left calls him all kinds of names. And he stands up for the truth. God bless him. It's great what he's doing.
Yeah, he's a Protestant minister,
Yeah.
He was
good
a
man.
nominee.
Friend of Ronnie's. If he's a friend of Ronnie, he's got to be a good guy.
He's a great guy.
So,
great guy.
all right.
Tom, if I could comment real quick, one of the things that always amazes me, and EW covered it quite well, is how could any Christian stand at the polling booth and press for any candidate that's a Democrat, knowing full well that they've taken God out of their platform and they are for abortion all the way up until birth.
Yeah, that's better.
You know, there are defining policies, defining elements, and my part of my activism career in the 80s or so, I was a pro-life activist on a national level out of Colorado. It became very, very clear to me that one of the reasons why this country is a great country, still is, needs some correction here and there, but one of the reasons, because it recognized the necessity to protect its weakest members. It had ingrained in that thing the Constitution and the other founding documents, the Federalist Papers. There's quite a bit of stuff that was written and spoken in the pre-revolutionary days about, well, back in the constitutions of each state, these principles were articulated. So just one day in 1776, a paper didn't appear this was 100 years of Judeo-Christian theology and polity together to articulate a document to declare independence from King George. And that document goes all the way back to the Hebrew and Christian scriptures. And a body of material was written. And in all of this material, it definitively says that a just culture, a just society, a fair society, a godly society protects weakest members. And that was defined as children, as elderly, and as the infirm, the disabled. And from day one, we had hospitals, Christian hospitals, Jewish hospitals, growing and developing to care for the young, the old, and the infirm. A very unique thing. I mean, many cultures historically, if a child was ill, their philosophical system threw them on a fire pyre, burnt them up or sacrificed them to Moloch, whatever. Ours protected. Once in 1973, the Supreme Court found in the penumbra, which means in the shadows of the Constitution, a right based in the 14th Amendment of privacy. Just like Dred Scott, the Constitution was turned on its head, and this right was found in a mother in consultation with her doctor to target the weakest member of society, an unborn child. And back in those days, the science was still good. We argued the science. You hear about the Democrats, we follow science, we follow science. I challenge any Democrat today to discuss with me or any pro-lifer the science of the pro-life movement, the science of what's going on. You want to talk about science, Joe Biden, you pro-abortion Catholic idiot? Unbelievable. Talk about science. What's going on inside that mother. Let's look at the science. Let's look at fetology, sonograms, embryology. A friend of mine, Dr. Wadi Bose, took at 24 weeks an unborn baby out, hydrocephalic baby, and developed a shunt, a little tube that drained the water, put the baby back in the mother, and pioneered shunt technology. 24 weeks. Now in virtually every state in the country, the federal law protects killing at 24 weeks of that baby. That's why it's unjust. That's not the Republican Party, Christians, believing. That's the Democrat Party doing that. I dare say anyone that votes for the Democrat Party abandons the primary principle of responsible government in this country, the protection of unborn children. Unbelievable. Don't get me started on this issue.
Yeah, no, because you made the point well.
All right, I think we're done. We got a great show tomorrow. We have, don't get me started on that. I spent a lot of time on that issue. And Willie G., our buddy, is a hero doing work on that. Tomorrow we got Dr. Ronnie W's friend, and Claire Lopez. As we know, Claire was with the Central Intelligence Agency for many years. And now doing work with us, Lopez Liber, and Ronnie is an Israeli-American expert on foreign affairs, Israel, Middle East. We're going to take a look at what you were talking about earlier. The piece, is this for real? Is it not? What's going on? Great show tomorrow on, what's the holiday that's starting tomorrow?
Yeah, we have Rosh Hashanah.
And what is that all about?
Jewish New Year tomorrow night. Our holidays begin at the night. We're going to hear the show. We're going to have the apples and honey.
All right. See you tomorrow, everybody.
New Year.